My boyfriend of 3 years cheated on me. That night, I came home early, intending to surprise him for our 3rd anniversary, but the surprise turned into a shock. The bedroom door was slightly ajar, and a faint, intimate sound seeped from the gap. I pushed the door open to find Brandon, my boyfriend, entangled naked with Tiffany, my own sister, on the bed. They were completely oblivious to my presence. I didn't cry or make a scene, I just ripped off their masks of deceit with my own hands. I told myself I wasn't going to be that naive fool who let people walk all over me anymore. I turned on the light, instantly startling the two in bed. Brandon was visibly startled by my expressionless face, and Tiffany, beside him, cowered under the blanket, trembling. Brandon, we're over. Brandon was too ashamed to speak for once. Luna, don't blame Brandon. We truly love each other. If you must blame someone, blame me, Tiffany said, her beautiful eyes glistening with tears, which made Brandon feel a pang of sympathy for her. I don't have a sister, so don't call me that. Why would I blame you too? After all, you're genuinely in love, and I'm too lazy to break up a couple in love. But, ever since we were kids, why have you always been so fond of taking my things, from toys to men? Are you truly that shameless? Well, it's fine. Thanks to you, I've seen this jerk for who he truly is. You can have him. Luna, don't talk about Tiffany like that. I'm the one who wronged you. Just tell me what compensation you want, and I'll do my best to provide it. Hearing shameless words, I truly felt like throwing up. Brandon, I can honestly say that during our 3 years together, I never did anything to betray you. And you? You get involved with Tiffany. I don't need your compensation, I just ask that you never appear before me again and tarnish my sight. I don't know when you two started, but a jerk and a bitch truly deserve each other. I wish you both happiness and a quick journey to eternal bliss. With that, I walked away with dignity, leaving the two of them furious and embarrassed. The rain continued to fall as I walked forlornly by the roadside. After all, we had been together for 3 years, and there were still some feelings. Brandon had pursued me with great fanfare, and I, being new to love, agreed to be with him. I never imagined it was all a lie. The rain drenched my clothing and chilled my heart. Without realizing it, I stumbled and fell by the roadside. A car approached from the opposite direction, and a man stepped out. Before I could make him out, I collapsed from exhaustion. Little did I know, the gears of fate were quietly turning. At the hospital, I woke up to a white ceiling, still in a daze. Just then, the door opened, and an exceptionally handsome man walked in. Who are you? Why did you help me? Having just experienced betrayal, my nerves immediately became hypersensitive. Don't worry, I won't hurt you. You fainted by the roadside last night. I was the one who saved you. The man's voice was very seductive, and his tone gentle, which made me feel a bit self-conscious. I said, I apologize, my attitude just now was rude. He replied, it's fine, I forgive you. Are you hungry? I bought some porridge. Would you like some? Already famished, I readily agreed. I quietly ate my porridge, while the man sat beside me. The silence was a little awkward, so I took the unusual step of initiating a conversation. Sir, what's your name? Ethan. I felt like I had heard that name somewhere before, but I didn't think much of it. I just found it particularly pleasant and committed it to memory. I also told him my name was Luna. Since we were unfamiliar with each other, we only chatted briefly. Ethan's words and actions were polite and refined, leaving me with a very good impression of him. The next day, I was discharged from the hospital. Ethan didn't appear again during that time. As soon as I returned home, I saw two utterly disgusting faces. Luna, you're finally back. Not coming home last night made me so worried. You don't need to worry. I'm doing great, and I'll only get better. As for you, brazenly bringing my freshly broken up ex-boyfriend home, what exactly are you trying to do? Walking into the living room, I saw Arthur, my stepfather, and Mom discussing something. Luna's back. Perfect, Mom has something to tell you. Come, sit down quickly. Mom, what is it you want to talk about? I sat down naturally. Your sister's boyfriend came to propose. She wants you to meet him. A cold sneer formed in my heart when I heard that. I didn't expect Tiffany to be so impatient. Then again, Tiffany only had her sights on Brandon's family background, which is why she stooped to desperate measures to snatch him away. Now she can't wait to marry into a wealthy family. I gave Brandon and Tiffany a meaningful look. I hadn't told Mom about my 3 years with Brandon, and Tiffany, in particular, seemed a bit uncomfortable under my gaze. My brother-in-law is such an exceptional individual, truly a captivating and unparalleled gentleman. I'm sure he'll be wonderful to my sister. Sister, you have excellent taste. You and your brother-in-law should truly cherish this hard-won relationship, and make sure no other homewrecker messes things up again. I deliberately emphasized the word again and went upstairs, ignoring the awkward atmosphere. Mine was a blended family. When I was young, my biological father, Daniel, passed away from cancer, leaving my mother constantly grief-stricken. At this time, my uncle, whose wife had already passed, offered Mom constant comfort. Later, he proposed to her. Mom was touched by his thoughtfulness, and even more so by her desire to give me a complete home, so she accepted. And so, my stepfather Arthur, his daughter Tiffany, and I lived under the same roof. Unfortunately, most blended families are not harmonious. My stepsister had always enjoyed taking my things since she childhood, and my stepfather was kind on the surface but cold-hearted toward me. I didn't blame Mom, it wasn't easy for her to maintain this family. Bored, I sat on my bed, reviewing the company's financial reports. I opened my email and saw an invitation to a gala dinner 2 days later. It was a significant event, and only the wealthy and influential were invited. In a flash, the day of the gala dinner arrived. I wore an elegant evening gown, styled my hair in an updo simply, and kept my makeup light. My demeanor was gentle and refined, yet not without a touch of allure, making me particularly eye-catching among the guests. "Luna, you're here too." The moment I heard that voice, my pleasant mood was instantly ruined. I looked over and saw Brandon and Tiffany walking hand in hand, looking lovingly at each other, coming toward me. "Luna, you look beautiful today. You rarely dress up like this." "Thank you for the compliment, but you and I are no longer connected." "Luna, why are you alone today? Everyone else has company. You look so lonely. How about I introduce you to a man to keep you company?" How could I not hear the sarcasm in her words? I was just about to retort. Gasps rippled through the crowd, and almost everyone began to clear a path. "Look, it's Ethan. It's Ethan, the CEO of Shin Group. It really is Ethan. Didn't he just return from abroad and rarely attend public events? Why is he at this gala dinner?" Amidst the commotion, Ethan slowly walked towards me, and I stood frozen in place. He smiled and said to Brandon and Tiffany, "Excuse me, but she already has company." Brandon and Tiffany were instantly stunned. Under the lights, the man's features were refined, his clear eyes, straight nose, and cool demeanor made him seem unapproachable. Even the curve of his thin lips held a hint of coldness. It wasn't until Ethan approached me that I realized he was the young master of the Wynn family, Ethan, who had returned home a while ago to take over Shin Group. I had simply been too busy investigating Brandon and Tiffany to pay much attention. It was rumored that Ethan had always excelled in academics. At 18, he went abroad to study and, in less than 3 years, founded his own company overseas, truly accomplished at a young age. However, with a family business to inherit back home, he returned once his overseas company was stable. After his return, he became even more mysterious, never appearing at public events. Yet, a man with an almost otherworldly charm like him was now inviting me to dance. It was clearly to help me out. Although we weren't close, I was willing to go along with it if it meant I could save face. Seeing the jealous glances around me, especially Tiffany's fuming expression, I gave Ethan a knowing smile and extended my hand, accepting his invitation. In the middle of the gala dinner, the spotlight shone on the perfect couple dancing, drawing praise from everyone. Looking at the man's handsome face, I couldn't help but ask aloud, "Were you helping me just now?" "Yes, is there a problem?" "I want to know why." "Because I fell in love with Miss at first sight. How could I bear to see the woman I favor suffer?" That single, almost ethereal sentence made my heart skip a beat. I didn't ask anything further. Adult conversations often know where to draw the line. When the dance concluded, warm applause erupted, and simultaneously, the hearts of countless socialites and noblewomen shattered. Brandon found the scene before him incredibly jarring and quickly excused himself. Tiffany could only follow, seething with resentment. In the backyard outside the gala dinner, Ethan and I stood side by side, both instinctively looking up at the stars. Neither of us spoke. After a long while, I turned to look at him. "Thank you, Mr. Ethan, for your help tonight. How would you like to thank me?" I paused, taken aback. "Well, Mr. Ethan, how would you like me to thank you? How about I offer myself to you? That's not OU." Of the question. Though I had been joking, hearing his reply made me take him seriously. "Mr. Ethan, I just broke up with my boyfriend. I'm not in the mood for games." "I know, but I truly fell in love with Miss at first sight. I hope you can give me a chance." "Mr. Ethan, being so outstanding, countless women would naturally want to marry you, but that doesn't include me. But I, Ethan, am only devoted to you." I'm the CEO of Shin Group, with substantial family wealth. I live a clean life, maintain good conduct, and would never do anything to betray you. Listening to Ethan's assertive yet sincere words, I became flustered. The intense push and pull of adults, and the atmosphere gradually grew intimate. Let's get married. My words made Ethan's eyes light up. Perhaps his words truly moved me. Although I didn't know the consequences of my impulsiveness tonight, I was willing to take this gamble. Alright, I'll propose to your family as soon as possible. I nodded. It wasn't until Ethan had driven me home that I snapped back to reality, realizing I had actually agreed just like that. I was working in my office when suddenly, my phone rang. It was Mom, and the call was just to tell me to come home as soon as possible, with no other details. I had no choice but to put down my work and rush home. Opening the front door, the first thing I saw was many large, finely crafted wooden chests neatly arranged on the floor, and then Ethan's handsome face. Just as I was surprised, Mom happily took my hand. Why are you only just getting back? You have a boyfriend and didn't tell Mom. Now he's already come to propose. I didn't answer Mom but looked seriously at Ethan. Are you serious? Absolutely. The heavens can bear witness, my heart is true. Ethan walked towards me, took my hand, and placed it over his heart. The pounding heartbeat, I didn't know if it was his or mine, but finally, I had a clear answer in my own heart. The usually quiet living room suddenly became Deli with Ethan's arrival. Ethan handled my future mother-in-law's barrage of questions with ease, making her grow more and more fond of her future son-in-law. Seeing it was almost my turn to be interrogated, I quickly volunteered to go to the kitchen to cut fruit for Ethan. My mother was very pleased to see her daughter being so considerate. Just as I finished cutting the fruit and was about to take it out, Tiffany walked in. Luna, you certainly have good fortune, managing to snag Ethan. I bet you were already flirting with Ethan even while you were with Brandon, weren't you? I have to admire your methods, Luna. How jealous she must have been, seeing chests of engagement gifts being brought into the house, filled to the brim, mostly with antiques. Brandon couldn't even manage such a display. Tiffany, do you think everyone is as shameless as you, desperate to throw themselves at a man? How and I got together is none of your business. What, are you trying to seduce Ethan now? Does know about this? Luna, why is it that you've always had the best of everything since we were kids, while I've always had to settle for second best? What exactly makes me inferior to you? Do you know the saying, jealousy makes one barely recognizable? Look at you now, you're nothing but a pathetic clown. It was the first time I'd seen someone so righteously justify stealing another's boyfriend. I had to admire Tiffany's twisted logic. I ignored her and walked straight out with the fruit. Ethan stayed at the Yu family home for the entire day before leaving. During that time, my stepfather Arthur repeatedly indicated his desire for Ethan to offer more support in business. Ethan, clearly not wanting to put me in a difficult position, agreed to Arthur's request. When I saw Ethan off, after much hesitation, I finally said it. You didn't actually have to agree. I didn't want you to be put in a difficult spot. Ethan naturally understood what I meant. But I also can't stand to see you in a difficult position. Although he's your stepfather, he's still family, and if I want to marry you, I can't avoid giving him some benefits. Don't overthink it, I'll handle it appropriately. Tomorrow, I'd like to take you to meet my grandparents. I'll pick you up then. Feeling's genuine affection, a warmth spread through my heart, and I happily nodded. What do your grandparents like? I should prepare some gifts. You don't need to prepare anything. I'll take care of the gifts, just show up. I nodded, and then Ethan left. The next morning, I carefully selected an outfit in front of the full-length mirror. I finally chose a moon-white cheongsam with pearl buttons, thinking that older people would likely appreciate traditional attire. Ethan arrived quite early. When I stood before him in the cheongsam, I felt a strange nervousness, and he looked at me for a long time. What, is it not pretty? It's stunning. You remind me of a poem right now. With one captivating glance, 100 charms unfold, making all other beauties pale in comparison. Hearing's passionate words, my face involuntarily blushed. Let's go quickly, don't keep your grandparents waiting. I had no choice but to change the subject, and Ethan simply smiled. Soon we arrived at Ethan's grandparents' residence, a traditional garden estate filled with captivating scenes of leisure and elegance everywhere. As I admired the surroundings, I couldn't help but marvel at the difference of an old aristocratic family. Their century-old legacy was no exaggeration. As soon as we reached the main hall, Ethan went to inform his grandparents of my arrival, and my heart couldn't help but grow nervous. She's finally here, finally here. Where's my granddaughter-in-law? Grandpa, slow down. Don't worry, your granddaughter-in-law isn't going anywhere. Old man, don't rush, walk slowly. I turned around to see two energetic elderly people walking toward me, along with a somewhat helpless Ethan beside them. Quick. KLY went to greet them. Young lady, you're my granddaughter-in-law. Very good, very good. You look like a bright young woman. Grandpa scrutinized me with a beaming smile, clearly very pleased with me. Grandma was also overjoyed, holding my hand and chatting with me. Ethan's grandparents grew fonder of me with every moment. Grandma even took off the jade bracelet from her wrist and gave it to me. I wanted to decline, but Ethan reassured me to accept it. Then the two elders pulled me to Ethan's childhood bedroom, ostensibly to show me his baby photos and chat quietly with me. They even kicked Ethan out, and he seemed helpless against the two elders. In the room, Grandma held a baby photo of Ethan, her wistful gaze seeming to recall the past. Young was so smart as a child, he picked up everything quickly. But he was always very solitary, always sitting by himself and not playing with other kids. It's a pity he lost his parents so young. As Margaret spoke, her tears fell like pearls. Old woman, don't be so sad. Young has grown up, and now he's even brought us a granddaughter-in-law. You should be happy now. Grandma nodded and wiped away her tears as she listened. I handed her tissues, and at the same time, I thought about Ethan's childhood, marveling that someone so outstanding now had grown up so lonely. Come here, young lady, Grandpa will show you a photo of young Ethan when he was 5. He was already very handsome back then. Grandpa happily took my hand and showed me the photo. Looking at young Ethan in the picture, with his baby fat not yet faded, I felt a strange sense of familiarity, as if I had seen him before. Grandpa, where did Ethan live when he was 5? Driven by curiosity, I asked this question. When was 5, his parents had just passed away, and he was like a lost soul, becoming even more withdrawn. Worried about him, I took him to live in Willow for a while to help him move on quickly. Hearing the words Willow, I paused, thinking, it can't be such a coincidence, can it? Oh, right, there was also a little girl back then who often came to play with young Ethan. Although young Ethan didn't like interacting with people much, he was very close to that little girl. Thanks to her, young Ethan recovered so quickly. It's been so long, I've already forgotten what that little girl looked like. Grandpa seemed to be reminiscing, and then he started showing me other photos of Ethan, but my mind was a tangled mess. Soon it was time for the two elders to take their afternoon nap. At first, they were reluctant, saying they wanted to chat with me more. However, with Ethan and my persuasion, the two elders still went for their nap, looking a bit displeased. After the elders' nap, Ethan suggested taking me for a stroll around the garden estate, which I gladly accepted. As I strolled, we arrived at a sycamore tree. Seeing this tree, I couldn't help but recall the scene of me laughing under a sycamore tree with a little boy when I was young. Although it seemed like I was the only one giggling foolishly back then, and I could barely remember the little boy's face, it felt as though I had been incredibly lucky to encounter him again now. You've been looking for so long, what are you thinking about? I'm thinking about a childhood friend, I said, turning to look at Ethan. Ethan, did you used to live in Willow? I already knew the answer, yet I still had to ask him. Ethan clearly paused, surprised. Haven't you already figured it out? Ethan had guessed that his grandparents had told me. Long time no see, my childhood friend. In that instant, sycamore leaves fell and danced in the air, as if celebrating this long-awaited reunion. Long time no see, Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo was the nickname my father gave me. Since his passing, no one had called me that again. Looking at Ethan's refined features, it was as if I saw that aloof childhood friend from all those years ago. So it wasn't a coincidence after all. I thought you truly fell in love with me at first sight. It was never a coincidence, and love at first sight is true. I've been looking for you for a very long time. The night I saw you, I knew I wouldn't miss you again. Then why didn't you tell me? I wanted you to truly like me, not just because of a childhood connection. Ultimately, it was my own selfish desire. Ethan's sincere words moved me, but he didn't know that I had already fallen in love with him. Ethan, do you know why I agreed to marry you? Because you are the only person, besides my father, who has been willing to unconditionally favor me. I've fallen in love with you, Ethan, do you hear me? I love you. Ethan couldn't believe his ears. He held me tightly, burying his head in my neck, as if pouring out years of longing. It would be my greatest honor to be your devoted admirer. I felt Ethan's emotions, a bittersweet, nostalgic feeling, intoxicating my heart. After a long while, Ethan finally released me. Ethan, in a while, I'll go back to Willow to pay respects to my father. Would you come with me? We could also revisit old places. Yes. Do you have time tomorrow? Yes, tomorrow afternoon. Let's go to City Hall and get our marriage license. So soon? I want you to become my wife sooner, so I can legitimately take care of you for the rest of your life. Of course, if you think it's too fast, we can wait a bit longer. No more waiting. I've already accepted the engagement gifts, so what's there to wait for? As soon as I said it, I regretted it, thinking how I could be so direct, as if I were desperate to get married. My face instantly blushed crimson, but Ethan wore a wide smile. May I kiss you now? Ethan's heart began to pound as he looked at my already blushing face and full lips. Ugh, who asks for a kiss? I glared at him. Close your eyes first. Okay. I slowly stood on my tiptoes, and as my lips touched his, a fleeting kiss landed on Ethan's cheek. Just as I was about to pull back, Ethan wrapped his arms around my waist and kissed my lips. I tried to push him away, but couldn't. Ethan skillfully parted my lips, kissing me tenderly and passionately. I slowly succumbed, and after what felt like an eternity, he reluctantly released me. My lips felt swollen. Why are you like this? I chided him softly. I couldn't help myself, Ethan said, his eyes darkening as he looked at my swollen lips. I'm going home now. I'll take you. The midday sun shone directly down, and the cool, moist air tempered the dry, scorching atmosphere, making it comfortable and pleasant. At the entrance of City Hall, I looked at the marriage license in my hand, feeling my nerves begin to fray. Just then, Ethan took my hand. Yo-yo, don't be so tense, you need to smile. Today is the day we get our marriage license, and we want good photos. I have to admit, Ethan was very good at comforting me. Since we were getting our marriage license today, we both wore white shirts. Ethan, in his white shirt, looked gentle and refined. The faint smile on his face perfectly reflected his current mood, truly embodying the phrase, a truly captivating and unparalleled gentleman. Ethan and I walked into City Hall. The procedures went smoothly, and we were out in no time. I opened the marriage certificate, barely believing that Ethan and I had gotten married so quickly. Well, now you'll never leave me for the rest of your life, Ethan said, with a goofy grin. Ethan, although we're married, I still plan to continue working. If I'm busy, I might not be able to prioritize your feelings. Do you mind? Brandon had cheated with Tiffany precisely because he thought I was always busy with work and had a boring personality. I don't mind. All women in this world can live the life they desire, whether as homemakers or career-focused individuals. Of course, a woman's worth is far more than that. I don't want you to lose yourself because of marriage. I want you to live with a smile in your eyes, always. At that, Mom. And, I couldn't describe my feelings. Most men in this world believe women should serve them, should dutifully be homemakers. They have never truly respected women's ideas. I felt incredibly lucky to have met a man who was willing to respect and cherish me. Gathering my courage, I stood on my tiptoes and gave him a quick peck on the lips, looking at him earnestly. Ethan, thank you for being so wonderful to me. Ethan wrapped his arms around me. Silly, you're my wife. It's only right that I treat you well. Nestled in Ethan's embrace, I felt a peace of mind I had never known before. The news of Ethan and my marriage was quickly relayed to both sets of parents. They hadn't expected us to get married so soon, so arrangements were already being made for our families to meet. At the dinner table where our families met, Grandpa and Grandma were present. Since my stepfather had an engagement, only Mom came. However, this didn't affect the atmosphere of the family meeting. The entire dinner table was filled with joy and harmony. Even in front of the elders, Ethan didn't seem to care, continuously serving me food. He noticed everything I wanted to eat, truly attentive to my needs. Grandpa and Grandma also gave me many gifts. Seeing how concerned Ethan and the Wynn family elders were about me, Mom finally felt at ease. My colleagues at the company soon learned about my upcoming marriage. At work, they all offered their blessings, and I bought many wedding favors to distribute among them. As I was looking at the financial reports, my assistant came in and said a Mr. Brandon wanted to see me. After breaking up with Brandon, I had deleted all his contact information. I refused to see him, but in the following days, Brandon waited for me at the company every day. People in the company started to gossip, so I had no choice but to meet him. I walked into the coffee shop Brandon had arranged and sat across from him. What do you want? Brandon didn't answer my direct question. Are you really getting married soon? Yes. Is it to Ethan? Yes. You just broke up with me. How could you marry Ethan so quickly? Don't lie to me. Everyone already knows. How could I lie to you? Besides, whether I get married or not is my freedom. What does it have to do with you? If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving. I stood up, intending to leave, but Brandon grabbed my hand, stopping me. Luna, I'm just afraid Ethan is deceiving you. He's so powerful and influential. He could have any woman he wants. Why would he specifically choose you to marry? Brandon, are you out of your mind? Ethan and I genuinely like each other and got together honorably, as equals. It's not like you, who always wanted what you couldn't have. How can you be so shameless? Luna, wake up and face reality. Ethan would never be with you. Brandon, what makes you think Ethan and I are impossible? What's wrong with me? Just because you didn't cherish me doesn't mean no one else will. Don't forget, you and I broke up a long time ago. If finds out you're acting like this, how will you explain it to her? People around us were watching the drama unfold due to my argument with Brandon, and some were whispering amongst themselves. Oh my, I can't believe there are still such heartless men these days. Right? It's clearly the man who can't let go. Ignore her, Luna. If you're willing, I can break up with Tiffany and pursue you again. When had seen the two of them dancing so lovingly at that gala dinner, he couldn't help but regret it, regretting that it wasn't him dancing with her. Hearing's utterly shameless words, I was fuming with anger and slapped him across the face. Brandon, so you're not just a jerk, you're despicable and worse than an animal. Luna, never go back to what's left behind. There's absolutely no way I'll ever be with you again. Just give up now. After saying that, I forcefully pulled Brandon's hand away and walked off without looking back, leaving him looking utterly unwilling. I didn't tell Ethan what happened today, first, because I didn't want him to worry, and second, because I could handle my own affairs. I couldn't rely on him for everything. In the following days, Ethan and I often went on dates. Most of the time, he was the one initiating them, and during our dates, he would occasionally prepare little surprises to cheer me up, which truly made me happy. We were already planning our wedding. We set the wedding date together for early spring in March, as that was the season when we first met. While some found contentment, others, naturally, did not. Mom told me that Tiffany and Brandon had a huge fight. Brandon wanted to break up, but the engagement gifts had already been given, with both families as witnesses. Ending the engagement now would undoubtedly put the Leong family in a dishonorable position, and they would never agree to it. The two were currently in a cold war. I wasn't interested in the reason for their argument, but Tiffany sought me out nonetheless. Out of politeness, I still agreed to meet her. The meeting place was set at a bar. While I found it odd that Tiffany chose a bar, I didn't think much of it, knowing she was always unpredictable. I arrived at the bar at the agreed time, and as soon as I entered, the dazzling, colorful lights inside confused me. I found a seat and ordered a long iced. I took a sip and had to admit, the taste was quite good. For some reason, I waited for a long time, but Tiffany didn't show up. It wasn't until I had finished the entire long iced that Tiffany finally showed up. Alright, tell me, what do you want? Luna, you really have some nerve. Marrying while still flirting with Brandon, making Brandon actually try to break up with me. Do you know how humiliating that is for me? Tiffany, you've got a lot of nerve saying that. Brandon is the one who can't let go of me. Instead of questioning me here, you should focus on keeping your boyfriend in line and making sure he stops harassing me. Shut up. If it weren't for you, Brandon wouldn't have pushed things this far with me. I could have smoothly married into the Leong family. All of this is because of you. Listening to Tiffany's hysterical accusations, I felt utterly disgusted and was about to speak again. But suddenly, I felt a wave of dizziness, my limbs became weak, my vision blurred, and I faintly heard Tiffany's voice in my ear. Luna, if I just ruin you, Brandon will come back to me. I quickly realized that Tiffany had drugged me. But it was too late. Tiffany instructed two men to carry me into a private room. Soon after, a portly middle-aged man walked in. The moment he entered, he was practically drooling at me, his eyes gleaming. If I weren't so weak right now, I would definitely be sick to my stomach. I first tried to warn him verbally, even bringing up Ethan's name, but the creepy man ignored me completely, occasionally spewing lewd remarks. The creepy man approached me with a lecherous grin. I instinctively grabbed a wine bottle nearby and swung it at him, but he easily dodged it. I threw several more, but the result was the same. I was ready to curse. Just as the creepy man was about to reach out his wandering hand to touch me, at the critical moment, the private room door was violently kicked open, and it crashed to the floor. Ethan, save me. Seeing that it was Ethan, my heart immediately settled. The creepy man was clearly startled. Before he could react, Ethan had already pinned him to the ground. After subduing the man, Ethan immediately came over and draped my clothing over me. Then he picked me up, and kept apologizing. I could feel Ethan's fear and guilt. I reached out and gently comforted him. I wasn't sure if it was my imagination, but I noticed his eyes glistening, as if with tears. It was the next day by the time I had fully recovered. During that time, Ethan stayed by my side, caring for me constantly. I told him to rest, but he stubbornly refused. Lou. FT with no choice, I had him get on the bed to rest with me for a while. Ethan, how did you find me? I sent you many messages that you didn't reply to, and you didn't answer my calls. You're usually not like that, so I concluded something was wrong. I had people track your whereabouts and pulled footage from cameras at various intersections to find your location. I'm sorry, I didn't take good care of you. It's not your fault, it was my mistake for trusting Tiffany. There's also something I kept from you. Before this, Brandon tried to reconcile with me, but I refused. I suppose that's why Tiffany targeted me. I know. I thought you didn't know. I know everything about you. I originally planned to teach them a lesson, but I didn't expect Tiffany to be so brazen. So, I won't give them any way out, Ethan said, a hint of bloodlust in his voice. Ethan, meeting you is the greatest blessing of my life. Mine too, Yo-Yo. Ethan kissed my forehead, and I nestled closely into his embrace, kissing him back. It was a few days later when I heard about Brandon and Tiffany again. The family was found to have engaged in fraudulent accounting practices, and the company was shut down, collapsing overnight. As soon as Arthur heard about this, he rushed to call off the engagement. But just after he called off the engagement, the police department came knocking, taking Tiffany away on suspicion of kidnapping. Arthur aged dramatically overnight. Initially, Arthur tried to get Mom to ask me to forgive Tiffany, but Mom refused. In her view, Tiffany was malicious and deceitful, even attempting to harm her own daughter, so she deserved the punishment. I knew this was all Ethan's doing. Although I felt a pang of sympathy for Tiffany, I would never soften my stance given the harm she caused me. Soon after, things settled down, and the death anniversary of my biological father was approaching. Ethan and I specifically made time to return to Willow. It was late autumn in Willow, and the cold wind rustled. The vibrant greenery had faded, replaced by withered grass and barren trees with gnarled branches. Ethan and I first went to a flower shop to buy flowers and prepare Father's favorite foods before heading to the cemetery. Upon arriving at the cemetery, we walked hand in hand toward Father's tombstone. Looking at Father's gentle smile in the photograph, I couldn't help but recall the time I spent with him. During my vibrant childhood, Father always pushed me on the swing set, afraid I'd fall, so he never pushed too high. I also loved playing horsey, and Father's shoulders were so broad. As I thought about this, my eyes welled up with tears. Ethan saw this and gently wiped them away. Then, he slowly knelt before my father's tomb. Father-in-law Daniel, my name is Ethan. I am Yo-Yo's husband. I promise you here that I will do my utmost to love and protect her, ensuring her life is filled with peace, joy, and freedom from worry. If I break this promise, I will not come to a good end. Ethan then stood up. I was shocked by his actions, but he merely smiled. This is what I should do. If I didn't, how could father-in-law Daniel, in spirit, be at ease and trusting his beloved daughter to me? My heart was completely overwhelmed with emotion. We stayed at the cemetery for a while longer before leaving. Seeing that it was still early, we then went to the place where we first met as children. The old house was long dilapidated, only adding to my longing. The only things unchanged were the sycamore trees in the yard. By late autumn, the sycamore trees had developed a mature demeanor. They no longer cried sorrowfully, lamenting the cold autumn rain and the heartless autumn wind. They understood the rise and fall of trees. With life, there must be separation. With vibrant prosperity, one must prepare for widespread desolation. With graceful leisure, there might be urgent panic. Do you remember this place? It's where we first met, I exclaimed, pointing to a spot. I remember. You saw I was lonely then and gave me an ice cream to cheer me up. You have the nerve to say that. You just knocked the ice cream over instead of taking it. I cried for so long because of you. I saw you crying your eyes out and didn't know what to do, so I could only give you another ice cream and coax you for a long time. You call that coaxing? You just watched me cry for ages before giving me an ice cream, and you spoke so coldly. My apologies, it was my fault. I promise I will never make you sad again. That's more like it. Childhood memories are always wonderful and happy. We talked about many funny anecdotes from our early days. We remembered even the most trivial little things from back then. Now, talking about them, we couldn't help but feel how childish we were, yet also filled with deep emotion. In the evening, we stayed one night in Willow, then explored a bit more the next day before returning. In early spring in March, with bright sunshine warming the earth and all things reviving, flowers blooming everywhere, Ethan and I finally had our wedding. The wedding was meticulously planned by Ethan. He reserved a private island, covered the entire island with flowers, and balloons floated everywhere in the air. Ethan invited hundreds of guests, as if to announce this magnificent wedding to the whole world. I woke up early to get ready. The makeup artist carefully applied my makeup, and Mom, with a beaming smile, styled my hair. Looking at myself in the full-length mirror, a sudden wave of sadness washed over me, and I quickly comforted Mom. After my makeup was done, Mom placed the veil on me. Supported by everyone, I slowly walked out. At the wedding venue, flowers carpeted the ground, champagne flowed, and several reporters excitedly documented this perfect moment. Accompanied by Mom, I walked towards the man I loved, bouquet in hand. Ethan, dressed in a white suit today, perfectly accentuated his physique, and his refined, artist's demeanor made him appear even more dashing. Grandpa and Grandma watched this scene, their years of anticipation finally fulfilled. I walked up to him, and Mom, with tears in her eyes, handed me over to Ethan. Next were the wedding vows. The officiant, do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? To love her, comfort her, honor and keep her, in sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer, until death do you part. Do you? Groom, I do. The officiant, do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? To love him, comfort him, honor and keep him, in sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer, until death do you part. Do you? Bride, I do. Then and I exchanged wedding rings. The moment the wedding rings were placed on our fingers, we would never be separated again. We kissed each other, witnessed by hundreds of guests. The joyous cheers seemed to pierce the sky. Our love would be till death do us part. In early spring in March, everything thrives. May warmth accompany us, and may we cherish every step of our journey. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.